In a quiet European village, nestled between hills and whispering trees, a young man named Stephen arrived with nothing but a suitcase, a notebook, and a heart full of dreams. He was poor, yes, but rich in spirit. A musician, a poet, a soul that saw beauty in the smallest things. He came to stay with an old friend of his father's, hoping to find peace, maybe even purpose. And then he met her, Majdoline. She was unlike anyone he'd ever known, graceful, intelligent, with eyes that held the softness of spring and the mystery of autumn. She loved flowers, books, and silence. Stephen was drawn to her like a moth to flame. They talked under the linden tree, shared poems, laughter, and eventually, love. It was innocent, pure, and full of promise. But love, in this world, doesn't always bloom freely. Majdoline's father didn't approve. Stephen was poor, and in his eyes, love without wealth was foolish. He warned his daughter, pressured her, and eventually, Stephen had no choice but to leave. He promised Majdoline he'd return, stronger, richer, worthy of her hand. Stephen returned to his father's house, only to face more rejection. His father wanted him to marry a wealthy girl, someone who could elevate their status, but Stephen refused. His heart belonged to Majdoline. Furious, his father cast him out. So Stephen began his journey. He moved into a small attic room with his friend, Edward. Days were hard, nights were colder, but Stephen worked. He played music in taverns, wrote compositions, and slowly built a name for himself. He never stopped thinking about Majdoline. Every note he played carried her memory. Every word he wrote whispered her name. Years passed. Stephen inherited a fortune from a distant relative. Suddenly, he had everything: money, fame, recognition. And with that, he returned to the village ready to fulfill his promise. But fate had other plans. Majdoline was married to Edward, Stephen's closest friend. The betrayal cut deep, not just because he lost the woman he loved, but because the man he trusted most had taken her. Majdoline had chosen comfort over love. She had listened to her mother's friend, Susan, who told her that love fades, but wealth remains, that a man with money could offer her a better life than a dreamer with a violin. Stephen was devastated. He fell ill. His body weakened, his spirit shattered. He was admitted to a hospital, and one day, Majdoline came to visit, with Edward. She looked at him, eyes full of regret, but it was too late. The damage was done. Stephen recovered, but he was never the same. He poured his pain into music. His compositions became famous across Europe. People heard the sorrow in his melodies, the longing, the heartbreak. He became a legend. Edward, on the other hand, spiraled. He gambled, drank, and lost everything. Majdoline watched her life crumble. She sold her father's house, paid off Edward's debts, and raised their daughter alone. The wealth she had chosen over love had vanished, and with it, her happiness. One day, Stephen wrote a letter, not to accuse, not to blame, but to forgive. He told Majdoline that he no longer hated her, that he understood, that sometimes people make choices they regret. He told her that his love hadn't died. It had simply gone quiet, like a song that ends but leaves an echo. Majdoline read the letter and wept. She realized she had lost the only man who truly loved her, not because he was rich, but because he saw her soul, because he believed in her when no one else did. She had traded that for a life that gave her nothing but sorrow. The story of Majdoline and Stephen isn't just a tale of love and loss. It's a reflection of the choices we make, of the way society teaches us to value wealth over emotion, status over sincerity. It's about how sometimes the heart knows what it wants, but the world convinces us otherwise. Stephen didn't win in the traditional sense. He didn't get the girl, he didn't build a family, but he found peace. He found purpose. And through his music, he touched millions. Majdoline lost everything, but she gained wisdom. She learned that love isn't about comfort, it's about connection, about two souls meeting under a linden tree and promising each other forever. This story reminds us, don't let fear guide your choices. Don't let others decide what's best for your heart. Because once love is lost, it rarely returns. And when it does, it's never the same. Majdoline and Stephen's story ends not with the reunion, but with a memory. A bittersweet melody that plays in the background of their lives, a reminder of what could have been. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to follow us so you never miss a story like this again.